I can never get the timing right, William, on this. There's a bit of a delay.
That's old
Oh
age.
dear. It's old age, is it? Okay. Now, good day, everybody. Good day, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And we love you all. And we just like to say we asked the question on the last video. So, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Are you going to start asking the right questions? Well, guess what? A lot of you stepped up and you did. You asked some fantastic questions. And and what else can I say is that we've got a few answers, or maybe not we, but William. But you never know. I might have an answer or two. Who knows? So fire away, William. I believe you've got the running sheet.
Running sheets?
The running sheet, or you and your money, honestly.
I'm not up with all this modern stuff at all, you know. So come on, running sheets. You mean I have the questions?
Yes.
Why didn't you say that? Anyway.
Oh dear.
Okay, this is what an email actually with a lot of questions on it, and it's from Robin.
Yes.
So I just talked through the questions, and she says the goal is to become neutral in all situations and unconditionally love everyone because ultimately we are all one. And remember who we are. Would you agree? Absolutely, I would agree to that. Absolutely, we are all, we are one. And we do love unconditionally. And we do remember who we are and what we are. And then she goes on, so do you love the one whose neck you have your foot on? I said, well, that's a great question.
It is, isn't it?
Should we as well? Well, it's actually a very easy answer for me. Very easy answer. Who would need it the most? Someone who has none, or somebody who's got loads of it? You give it to the person who has none, or whatever it is. You give it to the one who hasn't any. And that's what I do. I don't hate them. I don't despise them. I send them lots of love, and I do love them because I know who and what they are. I don't condone what they are and what they're doing. I will send them love, and I always send them love. I hold no animosity and no judgment on them, irrespective of who they are. They're all divine creatures. Well, most of them are divine creatures because they were created. There are some that are not. They're not part of the creation. But the answer to the question is, yeah, including the one whose neck I have my heel on. Now, there's another question that from somebody else, so I'll go on to that one as I finish out the rest of these questions. And she says, are Satan and Lucifer two different beings created of the same love energy as we are? They are, actually. You could say, safer to assume that they are. Then that avoids any complications. Satan and Lucifer are the one being. Creator of the same love energy as we are, yes. Are their soulless beings created merely by our fearful, focused thought? Or for that matter, is that how our reality is created? By our focused thought and emotional words we speak. We are creators. And we do create what we think. And this is, on the last video, I even mentioned it, that they, the dark side, the Cabal, get us to their creating for them. Because they know when we think and we say it, that's creation on our own. So yeah, we're creating it for the most part. And you need to be careful what you think about, and you need to be careful what you speak about. Or what you think is what you usually say. Yes, and that is the short answer to that. Are all beings a fractal of the prime creator? Is the prime creator whom you refer to as Father? Isn't Father a masculine term?
Uh-huh.
Are all beings a fractal of the prime creator? Yes. Short answer. Is the prime creator whom you refer to as Father? And isn't Father a masculine term? Well, yes. If you go back to the I am meditation that we do know, the star meditation, where I say, I am in him, he is in me. But I'll change that around sometimes and I will say, I am in him, she is in me. Either term is correct, because the two terms aren't even correct anyway, but you can use the male or the female term. There is no gender there. Quite equally is good to say female, the mother as the father, which is the short answer. And we are going into the female energy, by the way, in case you're wondering what's going on. A lot of the males are coming around to the female energy. I did some time back. This is why I have difficulty in understanding females that do harm. I can't seem to get my head around that. I say, well, why are they doing that? That's against their very nature to do harm. So that has me puzzled a bit. Respecting people's contracts, even your agreed present children. It becomes a great challenge and may seem uncaring. But accountability, responsibility for one's actions, and speaking with sincere honesty and truth is required for this world to change. Would you agree? Absolutely. Absolutely. Honesty and truth. Yeah. If you stick to that and work within that, you would change the world. You will change the world for all intents and purposes. I sincerely. And this is why you need to do meditation, where the meditation comes in. And that is important to go through your own self-forgiveness. Because I'll speak briefly about meditation here, right? A lot of the difficulty arises with people when they do meditation is that, oh, I can't focus. I can't seem to get quiet down. I can't seem to get my head around it. Now, a lot of times, a person will, when they meet that wall and they can't go beyond it, there is usually something deeper that is stopping that person from going beyond it. That something is happening, or something did happen in their past that they don't want to bring up, they don't want to face. That's an obstacle there. Oh, I don't want to go in and look at that. That's where self-forgiveness needs to come in. As soon as you bring in self-forgiveness of yourself, you will move beyond that into the deeper meditation, which is very, very important. Then once you master that technique of self-forgiveness, it's forgiving yourself. That's basically what it is. There's an initial fear of going beyond it, but once you break that barrier, then everything will run smooth for you. Your meditations will become a lot smoother, and then you can go about your walkabouts or your walks or your silent, the things you do silently around the house. Then you can go into that type of meditation because you've gone through the self-forgiveness part. So the quiet walk out the country then becomes a lot easier because then you've got something to compare it with. When you look at the self-forgiveness part and gone through it, then you can look at the other part and compare the two. Say, yeah, I now know what it is I'm doing. I'm out in the countryside, I'm sitting down, I'm looking all around me and loving everything. And then you know that you are in meditation because now you've got something to look at, to compare it with. But you got to go through the self-forgiveness, which you need to go through anyway. But push yourself, face what it is that is whatever is blocking that breakthrough from stopping you from looking at it. But there may be more than one item coming up every time you do it. Certainly this past event or whatever it may be will come up. And you say, oh, I don't want to look at that. And you move on to something else. I've had to go through that and I've had to look at stuff and go through the self-forgiveness part. It's not easy. Don't think it's easy. But once you do it and go into this the self-forgiveness, you forgive yourself. And then you start loving yourself once you've forgiven yourself. Love yourself first. Then you can make great strides once that happens. You have no more obstacles once you face your own demons, whatever that is blocking you from going into the self-meditation to help quieten the mind down. I don't mean silence it completely. When you do that, self-forgiveness, you're away for slates. Where was I? Okay. All right. When you say we must all be gone before the solar flash, or what means will you say we go? If not by air, ships, then how? So none has learned how to create their own Merkaba ship. You say you must all gone before the flash, yeah. If not by airships, then how? I believe it's a combination of both things. I've had dreams and where the ships have landed, and people are out there and they're welcoming the ships, and they're waving at the ships. The ships have landed, and the people are coming out of the ships. So, and the ships are extraordinarily beautiful, and the atmosphere was electric. So I know we're facing that, and that is what is going to come. A lot of the people here now have been brought in from elsewhere, from Mars, from Maldek, from Deneb. There's actually billions of people here, maybe 2 to 3 billion of those descendants that are here. A lot of them went underground to continue as second dimension beings. Some of them are third dimension beings, and they're continuing their 3D and 2D experience. Same thing will happen here. Those doing 3D will be taken to somewhere else, possibly in the body, in the spirit, not the body. They'll be taking, as the body will have to die, and then that spirit is taken and brought to continue the 3D entity somewhere else, 3D experience somewhere else in another planet, and this place won't be remembered. Those that are going to ascend, some of them will go by ships, and I can also point to the resurrection of Jesus. What happened with him? Look what became of him. He had to die. He died. And once he left the body, then the body was taken, and they allegedly left the imprint in the shroud that you're in. So there is an example of what will happen. Others will go through the rainbow body. Are you with me so far? Am I making sense? Is there anything you want to come back on?
Nope. No, to be honest with you, it's all making sense, because I too have had the dreams of the ships. I've had 2 individual dreams, months and months apart, and it was electric, like you say. And there was 2 or 3 different beings in each ship, and people were going about their daily business, and everything seemed to slow down, and the energy was just beautiful. it just resonated. And even the people that were with me at the time, who had no idea this was going to happen, were just it. I don't know. It seemed to me that if they were either hypnotized or whether they were just enjoying the moment, who knows? But and some of them went to touch the screen of the ship because the perspex,
Mm-hmm.
the window, and it was like small shuttlecrafts coming down slowly like snowflakes, and they were everywhere, and people everywhere were just wow, and they just wanted to talk and
Mm-hmm.
communicate, and
Mm-hmm.
so the whole thing was beautiful, and if that was a vision for the future, I have nothing to worry about. So yeah, as far as the meditation, William, I think I've mentioned before that I'm very much um, a busy mind, can't just sit there still and meditate. Yet, having said that, if I'm in a situation where, I'm supposed to be at school or in a theatre sometimes and I'm watching a movie I'm not really interested in, or if I'm at work and I'm not too interested, um, or even just out in general public
Mm-hmm.
and not interested, my mind can wander and meditate at will. So rather than just sit there and meditate like most people and go, I tend to just go inward and do it naturally, and I'm totally switched off. Yet I'm on autopilot. So I guess I don't know if there's something there that I need to forgive, but if there is, I don't know what it is. So maybe there's people out there with the same issues. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, yeah, okay.
yeah,
I can't argue one way or the other whether you have or not. That's entirely up to you.
yeah,
That, that that's that's up to to each individual what they're going through.
yeah,
But I was actually rereading the Law of One again, and I looked that part up about meditation, and why are they saying it's crucial to go quiet,
yeah,
to go quiet? They're saying it's critical that you go quiet and go within
yeah.
and to focus on that. They were stressing this is ultra important. And I understood where they're coming from. I said, yeah, I understand what they're saying about that. Because you find that you can do both. Once you master one, i.e., the silent one, you'll master the second one. And knowing that when you do go about quietly, you are completely aware on what you're doing and what you're about, and your thoughts can go elsewhere. You can go in when you're without, when you're out. I mean, but for in order to go, if you don't go in, you do not really go in, then you do go without. The
I,
true
I've
sense
read
of
I read something in a book many, many years ago. It probably was 40 years ago now. I wrote a book. I didn't write a book. I read a book called A Soul's Journey by Peter Reichlow. And in that book, he mentions um, how some people can meditate and actually be physically in another country, thousands of miles away.
mm-hmm. By
Now, I
location.
don't, yeah, so by location. So is that the physical body or is that the soul body that moves over? And does that explain why there's two or three of the same person on this earth, but in different places? Um, yeah, so that sort of triggered something in me where if I did go inward and go quiet, which I do many, many times, I'm not always loud and exuberant. I do tend to go quiet, and in those moments, I do meditate, but it's in a different form to the norm. So, but I've always been different and unique anyway. So maybe it's just me. Who knows? Maybe
Just
there's
as
someone
you.
out there.
Has to be
Maybe
you.
there's maybe there's someone out there just like me. You never know.
So yeah, but either way, you do have to go through the self forgiveness part whenever you want to do it. But you need to
Yes.
go through that before you do anything else. You've got to look
Well,
at yourself.
who's to say I haven't?
I
Who's to
haven't
say
said
I haven't?
I'm not saying that you haven't, but I'm saying in general,
Yeah.
you got to have a look at yourself and
Yeah.
see what stumbling blocks you need to get over. What you need to forgive anything? Is there anything there
Oh,
that you've done in
well,
the past that you regret, and that's
yeah.
blocking you? You need to look at those things. Self
I
analysis.
think, I think, I think most people would have something that they, you know, would want to forgive. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yes, I have worked on many things in my life, and my life has got better because of it. But unfortunately, there's the 3D distractions that get in the way and the negativity, and that's what makes it hard being on this planet. But I guess that's the human experience, and we've all got to go through that.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
You got to love yourself first, and then it is possible to love everybody else. I mean that. I mean that sincerely. You do love everybody else, including those whom you consider ultra bad. You know.
Yeah. Oh, I tell you what,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
could
I
get
love
on.
these people.
I could get on a damn soapbox right now, but that's delving into the I do not love them. But
Oh, God damn it. Let me finish the questions.
sorry.
Okay, so I must ask: have we incarnated here as every role? Like has like everyone has played the Jesus character, the Mary Magdalene, and other aggressive sides as well, or is that optional? Or did we simply come here to assist Gaia? Uh, all those wanderers or star seeds, you came here to help out. How many you have incarnated before? Yeah, but how many incarnations you have? Some people will have far more incarnations than other people.
Yeah.
Um, and um, we do our contract work before we come in here. We say we will do this and we will do that to experience it. Some of that will be what we call bad, but not evil, as well as the good side. We will experience both the good and the bad. We ain't like like you're bad at school, like you're ducking and diving, or you're ducking and diving and work, or you're doing something you should be doing. That's all what you call minor stuff, the quiet stuff. But when you get the other stuff where a person might do harm to another person, that's a different type of badness. Then that would be a big block. That would need to be clear. Or if you harmed another person,
Yeah.
harm no one. Do no harm is the motto. Do no harm. If you harm somebody else physically, then that needs to be tackled.
What
That's where forgiveness needs to come in. How you
what if
tackle
it's
that is up to each individual.
so what if it's verbal? Because there's a lot of that verbal stuff going on too.
How does the other person take it? Are you hurting the other person?
Yeah.
Yeah, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Words will do far more damage than sticks and stones.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, you can be in a situation where you I don't know, you may be tired, You may have had a bad day at work,
Yeah.
and someone rubs you up the wrong way, and you just react. Are you doing it deliberately? Probably not. But have you harmed the other person? Probably yes. If you recognize that, you can do one or two things. First of all, you can apologize and say, look, I'm sorry, I've had a bad day. Look, I didn't mean to do that. Then I suppose you've atoned for your mistake. But if you're not aware that you've upset anyone, then it's probably time to sort of look within and see if there's something that's stopping you from being aware. Is that right, William?
Yes, you're smack on. If you do harm to another person, then you need A, to be forgiven by the person whom you harmed, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you've got to go up physically to the person afterwards. If you can do it, then that's great. Absolutely. I'm sorry about that. You know, I'm just in a bad mood. And listen, I'm sincere. I sincerely apologize. And if the apology is accepted, then there's no issue. If you did something way back when to somebody and you don't even know where this somebody is now, but yet it keeps popping up, that needs clearing, but you don't need to physically contact the person. If it is a person that has been harmed, you can do it. You can ask for his apologies mentally, here spiritually. Yeah. Ask for that person's sincere apology. Say, I am sorry, I hurt you. Please accept my apologies. I love you. But you must mean that. Don't just rattle that out. That must be heartfelt and really, really meant. And once that happens, then the slate is wiped clean because now you've looked at it, gone through it, and the karmic debt is cleared. There's no karma attached to that. Where the karma is attached is when you don't ask for forgiveness, you move on, then you reincarnate. That is where a lot of the karma comes in. You bring that back with you.
So I've got a question there, William. What if, for example, you know you've upset someone, you've tried your hardest to physically contact that person and they just totally ignore you. So you're saying put it out there mentally, asking for forgiveness. But what if they don't respond to that in the ether or whatever it is, the high, the consciousness that we talk about? Yes, you yourself may have cleared that pathway and you put out the pure love intentions of trying to rectify it, but that particular person may or may not pick up on that because they're on a totally different wavelength and it doesn't get cleared. Is that correct or is that wrong?
Have you cleared yourself by doing that? By putting it out there, apologies, you can't contact the person. Have you now cleared yourself?
Well, I feel that if I was in that situation and I put that out there, then yes, I would feel like I've cleared it. Correct.
Yeah. So who has the issue now?
The other person. Yeah. Which is a shame because that other person may not know that they've got the issue.
When they get to the other side, they realize what has happened and then all is forgiven. Because you are the one that has committed the act, you've done the harm. You have apologized sincerely for doing that. And you have cleared that guilt from you. You've removed that from you. And you're the culprit, and you've now removed that. there is nothing now on you. You've cleared your debt. That's your debt cleared.
Well, I'm glad we've cleared that up because, there's obviously people out there that this has happened to. And, I mean, you come up across a lot of issues in general, across many age groups. And the reason I asked that is because I went through something very similar and I felt like I cleared the air. And I just wanted, for my own benefit, to clear that up publicly, because there's obviously someone out there with the same questions or wanting answers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just hoping that that helps to serve others to learn by that.
Remember, there is also the karmic side. You might have, if you do an injury or do harm to somebody in some way, you have to make sure that's not a karmic in reverse. That person hasn't done some harm to you in the previous incarnation. And he's bringing that back to clear his karma with you by returning to him, to you, what you did to him. He's bringing that back for you to clear. So there could be a lot of karmic situations going on as well, that between both parties. Who has the initial grudge, in other words?
So someone has to clear the air.
Exactly. Who has the initial grudge? Or the sins of the father are visited upon the son. That's mentioned in that.
So it doesn't really matter who committed the act or whether it's a revenge or whatever it is, as long as one person clears that debt, all will be forgiven when you get to the other side.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad we cleared that up. I'm glad we cleared that up, because that is I would have thought if we hadn't have cleared that up, we would have got a lot more questions on that.
But you must be sure you're within yourself that you have cleared that. And you will know, because then you're at peace about it. You will know that when you're at peace. If you're still not at peace with it, have you cleared that? Is your apology really, really heartfelt? But you will know that yourself.
Well, here's
you may still regret it. I mean, it will still come up, right? But it won't be as guilt. There won't be so much guilt attached to it. There'll be a memory of it probably, but not the guilt. Okay, the memory might be there, but not the guilt. But you've cleared.
Okay.
You won't erase the memory, in other words. I don't be thinking that's going to happen now, Kelly. Pay the money back.
Look, I was about to say,
what?
I won't give details, but we did have a past life, and I forgive you for what happened. just so that the public, you know what I'm talking about, But you know what? It really doesn't matter, because in this life we're having a great time. So
yeah,
and that's how it's cleared. Okay, as simple as that. So there you go. So not only did I forgive you, I've used that example for others, because I'm sure there are many people that have revisited people from the past life.
Show me the scars. Show me the scars.
Oh dear. No.
Okay.
I don't have any scars. They're all cleared.
Okay. I won't go no more.
No more.
I better leave it. Okay. You can imagine all the people are saying, what did he talk about? Let me say it's an old story.
It is private, and we do keep things private. Some things need to be private. So please don't ask questions on that.
No.
But it was an example that if you do have a past life where someone has revenge or whatever, and we're talking about clearing, whether it be a grudge or past life or whatever, as long as someone forgives, it clears the slate. And does it really matter in the next life? No, it doesn't, because we're living proof that we did have a past life and we had a situation, and we're the best of mates now. So all's forgiven. Stop hiding. Oh, dear. But we didn't know that until recently. So there you go.
There you go.
Moving on. Moving on. Keep the wheels turning. I can hear the cogs grinding in the background. Oh, dear.
Okay, so did we come here to assist Gaia? Yes.
Yes.
That's the reason we're here.
Yeah.
We came here to assist. Not come mucking around, thinking, oh, I'm a life worker or whatever. You came here to help. So what are you doing to help? That's your first job. Everything else is an add-on or a bonus. So get to work on the bonuses, people. Is it all just a school we learn how we might create our own worlds? Or do we come here simply to come to assist Gaia? Or do we have fractals of ourselves in higher dimensions? Short answer to that is yes.
Yeah.
We do have fractals of ourselves in all dimensions. We are in every dimension at the same time. We're busy little bees, aren't we?
We sure are. Just imagine there's 11 dimensions. There's 11 fractals floating around the universe of just you.
Or even matters worse, you.
So there's 77 billion fractals floating around just Earth.
At least.
At least.
Jeez,
from what I heard, it's about 8 billion now.
Yeah.
But anyway.
That's a lot of fractals.
It is. And thank God they're fractals and not freckles.
Listen, we are having a 3D experience.
Yeah.
So we're trying to understand everything, all the mysteries of the universe from a 3D perspective. It's not possible. We really don't understand. We can't understand all what's going on in the other dimension from this perspective. It's not, our brains wouldn't handle it. Our small, tiny little brains, as powerful as we are, we wouldn't be able to take it all in. So a lot of it will be guesstimated. Who says that about guesstimating?
Who said what?
Guesstimating. There's only a lot of guesstimating going on here as to what's going on up there. Actually, that is leading on to the next question. Right. Talking about leading, this is from, where's this from? Tune Word, whoever that is. Traditionally, Michael crushes Satan's head, but it is also written that Mary does. I am sure that all archangels are strong against evil. Mother Mary speaks of the hierarchy in heaven. What do you know of the hierarchy? The Mary speaks of the hierarchy in heaven. Well, I think at this stage we know what she was talking about. That's the different dimensions. And that's what that it would be considered a hierarchy. It goes all the way up through the various dimensions. In heaven, the hierarchy in heaven. This word heaven, right? there's no there is not an actual address called heaven. There is no place that is an actual heaven. You can't write heaven on an envelope and stick it in there and stick it in the letterbox and it'll go to a place called heaven. It won't. The word heaven is taken from the word heave, to heave up, to lift up, to heave up, to heaven, heave in. And that's taken from if you want to know where they're talking about heaven, that's up here, the claustrum here. That's where heaven is, and where the oil is lifted up, back up into is heaved back up through the spinal cord, back up in here. This is where we get the term, the land of milk and honey. Has to do with the oils that go down. But I don't want to go into that here and now. But that's where heaven is, in the claustrum up here. If you want to know where heaven actually is. So it's within us. And Jesus said that heaven is within you. Claustrum, oil, crossover, the flowing land of milk and honey, because of the oils that go down, one looks white and the other looks like honey. And that's where that term comes from.
So if it's within us, is it a state of mind?
Yeah.
State of consciousness.
Yes.
There you go.
When the oil goes down through the spine, it dwells in the bottom of the spine. If it's not used, we would then heave it up, lift it up, and back up into the claustrum. Send the oils back up. And that's the ascension allegedly supposed to be, what is consciousness. Okay. Yeah. There's a guy who used to speak quite a bit about that. Your countryman, Santo Panacci. He gives a very, very good description of that. So if we look up Santos Panacci, look at his earlier videos, he speaks a lot about that. He may have went off a wandering a bit in later life, but in his early days, boy, was he. He was excellent. So, yeah, what was that about Satan? Yeah, traditionally, Michael crushes Satan's head.
Yeah.
That is the normal depiction, and Mary also does it. But that is just that is a term of reference. What is meant by that is when I also say it. I have my head on his neck. What that actually is that we have our feet on what it represents, what is the darkness that it represents. All of the darkness. We have that under control. That is now being controlled and being constricted. So when we squeeze down on the back of the neck, we're constricting all of that darkness down. In June of last year, June 6th or 7th of June last year, I was involved in a declaration, and I put it on my Facebook page, and I was involved in a declaration where all the power was removed. All of that satanic power was removed.
I remember that, yes.
Do you remember that?
I do.
So that is where Satan has no more power. That's where we clamp down on it. No more of it. Put our foot down. Yeah, put our foot down. That's where that implication comes from. And it happens up there and it happens down here. As above, so below. They have no more control. They're wiggling around, and all the badness that we're seeing now are the carryover or the leftover from what they've been doing. They still have the traces left there of the mischief that they've been up to. They still have to
and also they've affected the mentality of many people around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, even today, there are some people still affected by that don't even know it.
The carryover from what you've been doing and were doing is still being felt. But it's now no longer manifesting like it used to be. What that declaration in June of last year, I was involved in it for this planet. The higher beings, the higher dimensions were involved from their side. So it was clear down here and it was cleared up there. They had all control was removed. Their so-called control was all taken from them. That happened in June of last year. I know I didn't release it for a month. And when I saw all of the darkness that was occurring, I said, look, can I release this information? But I said, there's a lot of fear out there. I said, can I release this information? They said, yeah, okay, release it, which I did. But I'm telling you now again, in June of last year, that was all removed. They've had no more control. They're tied up. This planet is back under the control. You want to say the word God, Father, yes, that's where it's all controlled from now. Given back to the light. All the planet's been taken back to the light.
I know this discussion could lead to our next video, but I'll just mention it quickly and briefly in that are you saying that Earth has been liberated to a degree?
Oh, yeah. Well, just seeing the remnants.
And so does that mean that everywhere else is liberated? Or does that mean that, what we're being told is that other places have been liberated and Earth hasn't. And I believe it's the other way around. I believe Earth is liberated first and the flow-on effect goes out. Now, am I wrong? Or am I just seeing things differently?
You may not be wrong, and you may not be right. No, it's above, so as above, so below. As below, so above. That is actual. So we have taken back, reclaimed it, not claimed it. We've reclaimed it back to its original intent.
Yeah.
To what it was designed to do before the darkness came and virtually took it over. That's no longer allowed. It has been all taken back. It has been taken back. The darkness has been has been tied up completely. Said, no, enough. It's over. You're finished. That's it. No more of it. And that has been done. And they know it. That's why they're screaming so much. That's why they're throwing everything, including the kitchen sink at thing, because that's the carryover from the actions that they've gone on before. We're seeing the tail end of it now. So grin and bear it, and we'll see what happens in the middle of next year. Not saying anything.
Yeah.
What happens? What do you know of the hierarchy? Oh, yes. Do you have a connection with Mother Mary? Oh, boy, do I, boy. She was the one who kept things together for me. She is a very, very special person. Yeah. I always hung on to her for some reason. I always kept a hold of her. When I was in trouble, I'd go to her. And it was only afterwards that when I started to know my brother, Yeshua, I remember him, when he paid me the visit, in other words, when he came to see me. And that's where everything started off, and I had the two of them. So Mother Mary was always the one. And I do have a very, very special connection with her. I had never spoken about her before because everything seemed to be focused on Yeshua, Jesus. Very little attention was paid to Mother Mary.
Yeah.
No, but hey, she is very, very special, and I do love her dearly. Yeah. Yeah, she did visit me one time, but that's by the by. So,
And guess what, William?
oh,
My mother in this life is called Mary. You didn't know that, did you?
you didn't know that. You didn't know my wife is called Mary.
There you go.
Yeah.
What a coincidence.
Yeah.
Or is it?
She don't you go stop breaking up the past now again. I thought we'd done with that. I thought we'd done with that.
Oh, dear.
You know, she is, and it's the female energy that's coming in.
Yeah.
That is, the old male energy is gone and good riddance to it. It's the female energy. And it's completely different to the male energy, the male egotistic
yeah.
energy. Yeah. Onwards and upwards. Yeah. Class action TS Club. The Bible was given to humanity by the Vatican, who worshipped Satan, and was designed to control people with fear of going to hell. The Vatican as well are taking their orders at higher realms by the reptile, Draco, demons who came to conquer and control humans and to keep them as their slaves and food. They have done this on other planets as well. What do you say about this, William? The Bible was given to humanity by the Vatican. Well, I dealt with the Bible in the last one, I think. I'm sure I was a bit, might have been a bit forceful on that, but hey, it is what it is. So yeah, the religion was created to control people. It is a controlling mechanism. I'm talking about soapboxes
now. The Bibli soapbox. Oh,
when I
dear.
see people, and they have
Yeah.
thousands upon thousands of followers, right? And they're way up there in the numbers. And they went from giving out information to bringing in religion and quoting religion. There's one guy there, and he's bringing in miracles. He's talking about miracles, and there's the other thing. And he's very much into religion. One particular chap. And suddenly he started bringing spiritual in religion, and he's got a hold of the spirituality and lobbed it into the religion camp, which only goes to prove that he knows very little about spirituality when he does that. But he's completely focused on the religious side of it.
Yeah.
I mean, and there have been a few others there like that, and they'll rattle off the Bible. Humanity is being trapped by these books, the Bible, for thousands of years. This is why I came down to pull you away from that. I mean, okay, I'm a guardian angel, right? And wouldn't you think I should be down on your knees now and open your Bible and we'll all say prayers? And we'll start off with this prayer, and we'll start off with that prayer. And we'll all get down on our knees and we'll all bow our head down. So what am I doing? The complete bloody opposite. I didn't come here to follow the rules, you know. I came here to break them.
Break them, yeah, I love it. Be a rebel.
The rebels, as we say here, yeah. We're in the rebel county here, yeah.
Yeah.
So that might be a bit puzzling for people. Shouldn't he be down having us all pray?
No.
And all that. Yeah, here I am kicking the shit out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can stop doing it. You've been enslaved humanity for eons. You know,
time to release the shackles.
But yet there are people who are bringing the shackles back in, just hanging onto the shackles. If anybody knows who I'm talking about, and you know that guy, would you ever tell him to bloody well stop? Because he's getting more and more into it. And I'm saying, oh, crying out loud, he ever stop. Because he does give out a lot of good information. And then he starts going off into this miracle stuff. If he doesn't know what a miracle actually is all the more proof that he's re-enslaving people. He's not freeing people, he's re-enslaving them.
Yeah.
So if you know what I'm talking about and you're in contact with this particular guy, it may have something to do with the medical whatever, tell him, I said to cut it out. Tell him, Gabriel said to cut it out.
Oh, dear.
He hasn't got a clue what he's talking about. He's doing more. He's talking about the latest miracles, and he suddenly seemed to have discovered emotional healing, miracles from God and emotional healing. He's talking a lot of fucking crap. He doesn't know what either is. He's talking about emotional healing. I think I covered that in either the last video or the one before. There is a technique called emotional freedom technique. It's been out there for years. And he seems to have suddenly, look what I've discovered. Emotional healing. Miracles. No. Cut it out, will you? Stop enslaving people is what you're doing. I'm off my soapbox. I got to stop. I'm off my soapbox. You have one.
Sorry? Do I have a soapbox? Yes, but it's not related to what we're talking about, so I'll bring it up on another video.
Right. How long are we going?
Roughly just over an hour, I'd say.
Oh, I mean, I can get onto the other one, can I?
What, you have more questions, or did you mean the other subject?
Actually, there was a question came in on a comment on the video, and we just noticed it. It's from my dear friend Caroline Flynn. And
yes,
she called it the Book of Miracles. I assume she's talking about A Course in Miracles. And she said, am I also bringing that in? And I assume that, am I including that in with the Bible, or what are my thoughts on? I don't have the actual, unless you can bring it up, what the actual question was. Something to do with the Book of Miracles. Or what am I including the Book of Miracles? That was it.
Yeah, 2 seconds and I'll see if I can.
By the way, as you're looking there, Caroline Flynn is a very, very dear friend of mine. When I was out searching years and years ago, she's not that old, by the way. She's way younger. She's even younger than Ian and Dermot. So he's only a baby.
Oh dear.
But if she was the person who helped me find what I was looking for. Because I always wanted to do healing, right? I always wanted to heal. And I was searching everywhere. How do I start healing? How do I go about healing? When do I start? And I was looking in books. I was searching everywhere. And eventually I met up with Caroline. And she set me on the road. I think she still does it. She used to hold weekly classes. And a lot of the time I would be the only male in there. And I mean, it'd be all these women, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
And it'd be 12, and there'd be 12 or 14 people there, and I would be the only male in there. It was bloody terrible, it was. And I used to hate going there every single week. There I was. No, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And if anybody can come across the equivalent of Caroline Flynn, wherever they're living, they consider themselves very, very lucky. Because she is one that you can really trust. She takes an interest in everybody that comes to her, especially the raw beginner, person who's only just waking up. And she will take them and she will help them along. And she will give them her full attention. And she's completely focused on that. I used to love going to our classes every week. Sometimes we'd have the Saturday or the Sunday, and they were highly enjoyable. And when I was still searching around, how do I do healing? I want to do healing. She was the one who put my foot on the ladder and made me realize that if you want to do healing and you don't know how, the only way you learn is to go and do it. So if you want to know how to do healing, go and do it. Take the first rung of the ladder. She was the one who helped me doing that. And she is a very, very genuine and a very, very strong person. She's highly talented. Highly talented. I couldn't fault. I've not done any faults with her. She's outstanding. Really, really is. So thank you, Caroline, again. And we will take up that offer of coffee. So, anyway, to answer the question, Caroline, before you dive in, hang on a minute. Yeah, what was it?
So the question was, fantastic to hear you, William and Dermot. Wonder if the Book of Miracles falls into a similar category that you talked about, as in the Bibli and the other big book that you had. Is it Uran? What's it called?
Urantia book.
Yeah.
Urantia book, yeah.
So does that book fit into the same category?
No. From my point of view, absolutely not. That book is the complete opposite of those two books. Complete.
Yeah.
The Course in Miracles is not a religious book. Got nothing to do with religion. Strangely enough. I suppose the name, I said, Course in Miracles, and I was searching at the time. Oh, I'll add that. Little did I realize what I was actually getting. Course in Miracles. It was completely different to what I expected. But when I started opening that book, I couldn't put it down. I was reading that book for months. There's over 1,000 pages in it. And I couldn't put the book out of my hand. Months and months. I went on the cruise for 2 weeks and I brought the book with me. And every time, from morning to night, I'd be reading the book. For 2 solid weeks, I'd be reading the book. Everywhere I go for dinner, breakfast, whatever, I'd have the book with me. I could never get enough of it. So the energy from both books, from the Bibli and the Urantia, compared to that, is a different league. A different league. I remember, I haven't read the book now in a while, but I remember one time I was sitting down, I may have told you this story before. I was sitting down on the couch and I was rereading the book again, and I came across a paragraph, and I looked at it, and I said, whoa, look at this bit. So I called Yeshua and said, come here a minute, come here. Because he, by the way, he was the one who, I wouldn't say about channel, but he was the one who delivered the book. He was the one, they're his words. So, come here. Hey, look at this. Hey, do you see that? I said to him, everything in the book is said in that small paragraph. Very small paragraph. I said, everything in the book about this book is in this. I said, what's that about? He says, for you to recognize that, you had to understand all of the book before you recognize the paragraph. I mean, he got a great kick out of it. Yeah. But you wouldn't have known that without understanding the rest of the book. There's one paragraph that everything is tied up in the small paragraph. And so when I saw, I mean, what I said to him afterwards, I won't say here. I said, you want to know what? And what I said to him. Anyway, that's between him and me.
Yeah.
I sure that answer when I go back up. Anyway, that's the by the way, but yeah, that book, I find that book outstanding. Maybe other people do. That's just me.
Well, I mean, I've got it myself, but I found it very hard reading for myself. And it's probably because I'm living a very busy life at the moment. So even if I were to read bits and pieces, it would probably, not sink in. I do need things to be repeated over and over for things to.
Could you say that again?
Oh, yeah. See what I have to put up with, folks.
No,
yeah.
I mean, it is a difficult book to read. I'll admit that.
It
It's
is.
a bit
It
like the
is.
Law of One. It's extremely, and there's over 1,000 pages in it, no less. So it is an extremely difficult to read. So I
I mean,
haven't read it 3 or 4 times and then to discover this paragraph. I wasn't a happy camper like.
I can read it, but the problem I have, William, sometimes is I'm reading it, but then I'm thinking too much about what I've read to 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 let it sink in, because what's happening is, as I've read something, I go, yeah, 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 and it sends me off on a tangent. And
Yes,
then I have to go back,
yes.
and it's like, oh no, this is too much.
Backwards and
Yeah,
forwards. What was I reading again? And you go backwards and you say, right, well, and then you go back more and then off again.
yeah,
It's kind of a never-ending book. But
it is, and
it is a
it's
difficult
tough.
read.
And if you can't sit still and meditate like me, you'll probably you probably find it hard to read as well. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't. I mean, I've got the book, so I can
And
refer to it every so often.
in the Course in Miracles, you don't have to know the book word for word,
Yeah.
from cover to
No.
cover. Once you read it and get the grasp of what the book is actually teaching you, it is a teaching book. It's a teaching,
Yeah.
and it's not religious. It might have a religious or spiritual overtones through it, but it's not a
Yeah.
specifically religious or spiritual book. I suppose it is maybe spiritual, yeah. But it's been a while since I've read it. But once you get the grasp of what it's about, then the energy of that sinks in and you don't get rid of it. That's there. That's the teach. It's actually a teaching book.
Yeah.
So what's the soapbox about? I will go on to the other thing.
Well, first of all, is that the end of all the questions that we've answered?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, if we have missed anyone's questions, we've tried at least to attempt to answer them. If there are more questions, then please let us know. Um,
But by the
and
way,
we'll do our best.
we want to thank everybody who has subscribed and anybody
Yeah.
who's come in with the questions and anybody who's viewed it and have no questions. We thank you all very, very sincerely. Thank you.
There's something that I do want to mention, William, and thank you for that. Although we're on YouTube and we
Oh, yeah.
have a number of subscribers now, we have a channel on Rumble, and it's Dermot Kelly, William O'Leary, and we are on Rumble, and all the videos that we've got on YouTube are on Rumble. And the reason we've done that is because it's easier for us, because you just never know when YouTube will go down.
And you have been up to hanky panky with the channel, as we know.
Yes, there's a lot of hanky panky with the channel.
Yeah.
So we decided that we'd like to move to the other platform, but we'll still upload to YouTube for the time being, until everyone's moved over. So if you are with us and you enjoy us, please visit us on Rumble and press that subscribe button. So, and we believe that it's the place to be right now.
Yeah, yeah, certainly is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say something.
You're always going to say something.
Strike one, Kelly.
Strike one. You mean strike 1001? Ooh. No. Look, Soapbox will sit idle for another week. But what I'd like to do now is maybe wrap this one up, and we'll do another video on something that we need to put out there. Is that correct,
Yeah,
William?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So will this be
Yeah.
part one and part two? Will the two of them come out fairly quick, or what's the story?
Oh, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? We can't be telling them what we're doing.
Well, tell me.
Yeah, privately, yeah.
Come on then.
No, this won't be a part one or two. This will be just the questions and answers.
Yeah.
And the next one we do will be specifically on the subject that we want to talk about.
Actually, before we go, there is something. Will I say it on this one or on the answer to question? No, I'll do it on the next one.
Okay.
If I remember it, I've got to write it down. Even when I write it down, I still can't remember it. What was that about?
What was that about?
When I spoke about the Santa in the last video,
Yes.
you notice that we recorded the last video on the 1st of December.
Correct, we
And
did.
there's been a video come out on the 1st of September with the same information that I gave in our last one about Santa Claus.
Is there really? Who's that then? Because I haven't seen it.
It's our two friends, our two friends on the other channel, on the Juice and Lucy. They posted it up, and I said, "Oh, that's And we spoke on the 1st, and I was supposed to get that information out on the previous video. Remember I was saying there was
Yes,
something
that's
else
right. Yeah.
And that's what I had forgotten about, and I said that in the last one.
Yeah, you actually wanted to say something, and then you totally forgot, and then the following week we did it, and I didn't post it till the 4th of December.
Yeah. But what I'm getting at here is, and I may have mentioned this on a few occasions, that anything I would say, or even something when I think about, will always show up, and show up rather rapidly. Well, that showed up more or less around the same time.
Yeah.
Careful what you think, careful what you say, because with me, what I say will show up. This will all revert back to my time in the hospital, where I, speaking about the guy who was, for all intents and purposes, dead directly across, and because of what I said, affected was the cause. I had cause and effect because of what I said.
Yeah.
But I have noticed it quite some time back that I do need to be watchful of my words, because I am a powerful little git. I can do things right. I can do a lot of things.
And that's why I stay on his good side.
I didn't hear that.
Pardon?
Somebody, I know I mentioned the last one, somebody found my bad side.
Someone, sorry?
Somebody witnessed my bad side and the effects of my bad side also, before I became totally aware of what I was doing. So I am reviewing me, what I can do.
So have you forgiven yourself for doing it and cleared the debt?
Yes. That was one of my little bricks on my glass walls I had to go through.
Yeah.
Because even though I didn't realize at the time the damage I was doing, I saw the effects later. And I went, oh.
Oops.
Oops. Yeah. So I learned a hard lesson.
And I hope that we've cleared up the sound issue this week too, by the way, folks, because, Oh, don't start that again. He does this to me privately as well. Oh, dear. That's a good one. I like that.
Right then. So thank you all once again for all your questions. So we'll
Thank
flick
you.
off, and we'll discuss about the other one. Well, he'll discuss it, and he'll decide. I'll leave it up to him. I blame him, man. Either way, I'll blame you.
So that's enough from him.
And enough from me.
From me.